All right, you are with another incredible edition of the Don and Gino Real Estate Finance Show. That's right, national recognized real estate radio networks. Oh, Don Geottling, Gino Fronteand here with one of our most exciting shows we have ever had. You do not want to change the dial today. We have today, Gino, two of the very top of their game entrepreneurs that absolutely surround themselves with the very best of the best in their fields, and they're going to share with us some secrets of success. So today the show is about success, and I'm pleased to be here, of course, with my good buddy and business partner and co-host Gino Fronteand.
Thanks, Don. I'm really excited about today because, what we started this whole show for was to help everybody succeed. And our goal is to help you succeed, and that's why we put this show together today, so that you can learn the tips of the most successful people in each respective industry. I think you'll find they're basics. It's no silver bullet, it's no magic system, it's some common courtesy and just really good habits.
Well, that's why I'm excited about the guests we have here today. Make sure they don't miss it, right, Gino?
Yeah, and they can check it out a number of different ways. They can do it at hometownstation.com, check it out at Listen Live, or you can do ustream.tv, which is really popular. We could check out who we have in the studio today.
Yeah.
Ustream.tv, just type Don and Gino.
That's right. Or call us at 855-DON-GINO. And we are here today with, actually in the studio, we're very pleased to have, because she came all the way from Georgia. That's right, Atlanta, come join us today. And you're going to love the tips you're going to get from our guest today, because, and our energy. I just love speaking with our guests coming up, and let's just not tease them anymore, because we only have so much time. And Jessica Fisher, the CEO and publisher of Top Agent Magazine. This is a nationally recognized, now worldwide magazine that goes out, and basically she interviews and highlights the top real estate lending, top real estate professionals in the world. And she's going to share with us some of the traits and some of the tips and topics and items that make these people so successful. Right, Gino?
Yeah, I think one of the most important parts of her job, and she can correct me if I'm wrong a little bit later, but it is to identify what makes these people stand out in the crowd of the same people in their field. What makes them stand out against their peers? And I'm really excited to hear what that is, so that we can hopefully get some people to learn some of those great tips and start applying them in their lives.
And what a treat. So we have with us today Jessica Fisher. And how you doing, Jessica?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, there you go. Turn on your mic. We want to hear from her. She's awesome.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
All right.
There we go.
Oh, now I hear myself. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yes. So we have Jessica Fisher. She's going to share with us. We've been talking for quite a while, and you should see this magazine that she puts out. It's an online magazine called Top Agent Magazine. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is top of the top.
you.
It's like nothing you've ever seen. When she highlights somebody, they interview and get real down to the nitty-gritty about what makes them successful, what's interesting about them, which is always fun. And she does it in such a professional way that, the two words that come to mind about Jessica is that she's a top entrepreneur and just a class act, and we're lucky to have you here today.
Thank you guys very much. I'm so pleased to be here.
It's great to have you here, and we were talking a little bit earlier about what does make these people successful, and I think that the things that we discussed they seem like maybe small items, and maybe that's why people don't regularly apply these tactics, but they're
Yes.
so simple, so small, but so important.
So important. Absolutely. There's a few ones I wanted to highlight just from interviewing agents throughout the world, but they all seem to have similar traits that help make them successful and make, most importantly, their clients coming back to them.
And these are top agents. These are you don't just go around interviewing agents. These are top of the game. I mean, these are people that are on TV programs. They have their own shows. They have their own magazine. These are the top of the top, and you interview them and profile them and highlight them in the magazine. So what's really cool is when we were talking, we went over, unfortunately our show's not long enough to go over some of the great ideas and topics that we went over on what makes them successful.
Right.
You started off right off the bat with talking about, right off the bat, is how important it is to get back with them as soon as possible.
Yes. If somebody calls you and they're interested in listing their home, or they want to buy a home, you need to meet with them promptly. If I want to list my home and you can't meet until next week, I might find someone else to work with. I even might change my mind about selling. Meet as soon as possible. Do
Well,
whatever you need to.
And everybody believes that, oh, they'll wait for me because I'm
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I'm that
Sometimes,
good.
exactly. You might call and they might say, well, I can meet next week, next Thursday at 4 o'clock. Would that work for you? No, I want to meet today or tomorrow. Because I have a whole other list of people that I'm going to look up to call if you can't meet with me.
Yeah, and I think that's more and more important every day that goes on because we're so accustomed to instant gratification these days, right?
Right.
I mean, I send a text message, I expect a response in like milliseconds.
Yes. But I see this as an overall indication that you'll have the drive and determination to get things done throughout the entire process. If you're willing to meet with me right away, at least even if it's just for 20 minutes of your time, if you have a really busy schedule, simply to just hear what I want to do and see if that's possible, then that to me just shows that you want this job. I don't want a laid-back agent. If you're laid back in your personal life, great. But at the closing table, I want a friendly shark, a check in my hand, a feeling that you served me well and you didn't leave me waiting.
I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's true because you're like, oh, I do want to like them, but then again, I want them to get the job done.
Right.
And what I like about these tips as we went over them, Jessica, and again, if you're just tuned in, we're talking with Jessica Fisher, CEO and publisher of Top Agent Magazine, a worldwide publication, and she's sharing tips. And what I love about these tips, they are not just for real estate agents. They're not just for lending
Right.
like us. And we do want to thank Cherry Creek for sponsoring this show and letting us come on today. But it's for any professional. These tips,
Right.
when you go down this list, and we'll touch base on more of these because they're awesome, they're great for anybody. So if you're listening, please pay attention because this is somebody that interviews the top of the top, the best of the best. And that's why we brought Jessica on, and we have another guest that he does the same thing in various fields.
Right.
So we want to...
Yeah, what I think is really important, you mentioned, and sometimes people forget, it's a business transaction. So it is nice when someone's friendly to you and courteous and those types of things, but it's a business transaction. It's important that they succeed and do what they promise to do. Isn't that right?
Yes. You can list out everything that you can do for this person. You can actually just do it. That will get you their business.
Well, like you were mentioning about how important it is for them to meet with you right away, it's also about basically keeping you updated. I love that you mentioned
Yes.
that if they call you, then you're not meeting their expectations because then they're having to call you instead of you calling them and giving them updates on a regular basis.
Right. So I suggest call or write even if there is no news. If they have to call you, you are not meeting their needs for communication, and they will feel like you are not doing your job, even if you are. I mean, you can be, working their deal all day. They don't know this. So when I have to call an agent for my own transactions, it was because I was unclear where things stood. To anyone that's in the middle of an escrow or even waiting for an offer, that's a bad feeling. And not knowing is reason enough to find another agent to work with. So I suggest find out the best line of communication for your clients.
Good point.
Use it as much as you can. Ask them up front. If email is their favorite method of communication, then get their email and send them email updates. If they prefer phone, just find the best time to call them. This is simple stuff. I mean, if they like texting,
Sounds
make sure
simple.
you have a phone and you can text them. And also just ask them how often they want updates. Just like every relationship's different, you have to ask your clients what they want, at the beginning. Would you want to hear from me every day? Would you prefer? And they might change their mind. They may say, no, just once a week. And they might, if they're calling you every day, that means that they just want to hear from you every day. So just start calling them every day.
See, I love the point that you mentioned that you listen and you ask questions.
Right.
How do you want me to communicate with you? Because a lot of people don't do email. Everybody's all into the email craze,
Yeah.
and that's not always the best form of communication. So I'm glad that you listen, and we'll talk more about some of these tips that you have about listening and stuff. And luckily, our next segment's a little bit longer for us, so do not turn that dial because we're going to touch base a little bit more with Jessica Fisher, CEO and publisher of Top Agent Magazine, and she's going to give us some more tips on success in any industry, whether it's real estate or not. When we come back to the Don and Gino show,